thought about how many times have you found yourself stuck in a scarcity cycle, playing victim to why you can't have the pleasure that you want, why your life is sucked of all joy, why your mojo is gone, and why you don't have the money that you want? Whether it's about pleasure or prosperity or joy, this episode is for you because I'm diving into some powerful feminist strategies that have helped me break free from massive scarcity conditioning and narratives and open myself up to receiving more pleasure in my life, going from hardly being able to have an orgasm in one way to becoming highly multi-orgasmic and being able to have them in all of the ways, and how I've expanded my capacity to receive way more abundance than was available in my family of origin and what was acceptable and normal from my family. In this episode, I'm going to share those pivotal moments and the exact practices that expanded my pleasure and abundance capacities. From the jade egg practice to breath work to even plant medicine ceremonies, I'm going to share all of it with you and how it supported me. So you're going to discover how letting go of judgment and control can unlock all of the possibilities to increase your capacity to receive more of whatever it is you want in life, and exactly how I did that. So if you're ready to explore what's possible, then stay tuned for the entire episode. I'll see you there, Hamala.
Welcome to the Multi-Orgasmic Millionaire Podcast, where sexual liberation meets financial empowerment. Join me, Tilly Storm, top 20 sex coach worldwide, on my own journey to becoming a multi-orgasmic millionaire through the mystical art of sex magic, financial savvy, and guidance from my very own mystical Yoni Oracle. I'm going to reveal how I'm turning orgasms into cold, hard cash. Get ready to dive deep and discover the secrets to living a life of abundance on your own multi-orgasmic terms.
Welcome back to the Multi-Orgasmic Millionaire Hot Mamas. It's Tilly Storm, and today I'm going to talk to you about how to break the scarcity cycle, the scarcity spell, whatever you want to call it, with feminine strategies for more pleasure, more prosperity, more money, more of the things we actually want, more joy, and all of the goodness, so we can have and hold more. I'm going to walk you through my own journey of how I have greatly expanded my capacity for pleasure and also abundance over the last decade of my life to really inspire you about what is possible, because I think that so many of us get stuck in not even knowing how much more pleasure is available to you because we don't have a reference point for it. I want to be that reference point for you. The way that I have expanded my capacity to receive more pleasure is by, number one, being completely and utterly accepting of all of my desires, accepting all of it, even the parts that scare me, even the desires that don't fit in with the things that I actually do want, even accepting my desire for a person, a particular person that wasn't good for me, for example, and allowing myself to fully give myself what it is that I most wanted and to be full with desire. To be full with desire is something that most women cannot handle. They don't know what to do with it. It makes them scared. They fear that they will make a bad decision or they'll make a bad choice. And yes, part of our younger, immature version of ourselves might do that and might have done that in the past. But if we're here to expand our capacity to receive more pleasure and prosperity in our life, then we have to approach that with a level of maturity and consciousness that wasn't existent before. And that is possible. So my ability to expand my pleasure capacity first started when I began the jade egg practice in 2015. It may have been 2014. I signed up for a business coaching program. It was Marie Forleo's B School. I actually did it with the intention of creating an online program for birth and postpartum. So I was going to create an online course. I filmed the whole thing. I actually paid a videographer to film the entire online course. I never sold a single online course. But I was so glad that I discovered that program and learned about online business because I knew that it's something that I wanted to do. I wanted to be online. I was working as a doula and a midwife apprentice during that time, and I knew that I wanted to transition to something that was online that I could be location independent. I didn't have any intentions of moving at the time, but I knew that I wanted that level of freedom eventually in my life when my kids were a little bit older. And when I signed up for that program, I got a free Jade Egg course because the affiliate to Marie Forleo's B School was Layla Martin. And I was already on Layla's email list from downloading her Facebook ad ebook, Wild Woman in the Bedroom, all the way back in 2014. I think I got on her email list when she first came online. And she was promoting Marie Forleo's B School. So I signed up for B School through Layla Martin, and I began my journey to expanding my capacity for pleasure. The Jade Egg was absolutely one of the most transformative practices of my life. I had no idea what my body was capable of feeling and experiencing if I could just approach it with no judgment. If I could just be in acceptance of the way that it was, the way that it is, without trying to make it do something or be something that it was not. And I think that so much of the pressure that we put on ourselves to be perfect, to be able to perform like a porn star, to be able to have all the orgasms in all of the ways, it's counterproductive to actually having those experiences. And if we want to increase our capacity for pleasure, we have to take all of that external pressure off of the table and just be with where we are right now. And that's something most people aren't brave enough to do. They aren't courageous enough to do it because it also means that they have to feel what they don't want to feel. And that's where the resistance comes in. And that's where people get stuck and perpetuating cycles of not experiencing the pleasure or the money that they know they could have and hold if they could just get past the resistance. Expanding my capacity from only being able to have an orgasm in one way to becoming multi-orgasmic, being able to have them in all of the different ways and ways that we can't even name. I mean, I don't know what you would call a glittergasm, but maybe that. I remember having an orgasm from looking at a Christmas ornament one time. It was absolutely enthralling. So it is possible to have exquisite amounts of pleasure running through your body, but expanding your capacity to experience that amount of pleasure. Another way that I did it was through plant medicines. I would not say that they were pleasurable experiences when I first started them. My first experience with psychedelics was on ayahuasca, and I had way too much for the first time. And of course, that being your first psychedelic experience probably wasn't the best way to go. I probably could have done other psychedelics that weren't so intense to start, but I'm kind of an intense person. So, of course, I went down that path. And doing 5 ceremonies in a row, the other 4 ceremonies were much more doable, although still very challenging. Experiencing that medicine ceremony really increased my capacity to receive and to let go of control. That was really what the whole experience was about, was letting go of control. I've always been kind of a control freak type A person, and letting that go was very, very challenging with all of the conditioning and the beliefs I had around doing drugs itself, right? I do that with air quotes because I wouldn't necessarily call them drugs as much as medicines. And really working with mushrooms was a very powerful experience to expand my capacity for pleasure because every time I have done them in ceremony, it has absolutely blown me open to what is possible and the more that exists. And those have been my templates for living more of a life of pleasure and abundance, is actually being on a medicine and experiencing the infinite possibility, the infinite pleasure and abundance that there is in other realms that are really here right now, but we just are so disconnected from that perspective that we don't see it on a day to day basis. And I would say that the third way that I've expanded my capacity, specifically around abundance, is breathwork. Absolutely every day being committed to doing a DMT breathwork practice has been life changing. And I say this because every time I do the breathwork, every day it gets a little bit more into the somatic world, and I can reach that altered state of consciousness where I literally can feel my body expanding its capacity for more. That I see myself, I start to identify myself as someone who is connected to all that is, not just what I see in the here and now with my two eyes, but more of the energetic realm. And when I'm connected to that, there is no limit. There is no scarcity there whatsoever at all. And being connected with that every single morning has been a life changer for me in terms of expanding my capacity to receive more money. I will literally sit there and feel a somatic sensation in my body of what is it like to receive? What does it feel like to receive? And every time I'll do the breathing and then hold on the inhale and then hold the exhale, on the inhale, I will see and feel that sensation expanding in my body. And as I exhale, I will expand it even more out into the cosmos and the universe. Having that daily practice has been one of the biggest ways that I've been able to create more of a capacity to hold more money in my life. And obviously, nervous system resetting and releasing. That has been a huge piece as well, because immediately after the breath work, I will do 5 minutes of vagal nerve toning and I will reset my nervous system into parasympathetic states to get really used to being there and checking in throughout the day, like, oh, okay, this is how and when I've gone off. And when I've gone into old patterns and I've bought into old beliefs, I'll be able to catch it and then come back into that parasympathetic state just by doing a couple of movements with my head and my neck and my ears. It is very powerful. Okay, so now that I've shared with you a few of the ways that I have learned to increase my capacity to simply receive more, I want to share how you can begin to even identify and deconstruct the narratives and belief systems that are holding us back from abundance and pleasure in the first place. I didn't go into the jading practice completely clueless about what it could do for me. I had read that the jading practice could support a woman to release shame and guilt from her body. And I knew that the shame and guilt that I had around my body and my pleasure was from how I grew up. I could connect the dots already. I don't know why most people don't, other than they're just not really intuitive or they're disconnected from their intuition. But I definitely knew that was why my pleasure capacity was limited. And no one had to teach me that. No one had to tell me that. I didn't have to discover that. I knew it. And I think most people aren't really conscious or aware of why they are experiencing what they're experiencing and what the real blocks are. Somehow I was. I don't know if it was just a gift because maybe I would have never figured it out on my own. I'm not quite sure why that was given to me, why that inner knowing and knowledge was given to me, but I assume it probably had something to do with I wouldn't be here sharing this with you today if I didn't follow that and have that inner knowing. So, how do you deconstruct the narratives and unconscious beliefs when you aren't really even sure why you're experiencing what you are experiencing? Well, the first thing you can do is you can book a pleasure assessment call with me, because that's literally what I do on those calls for people. I help them to see why they are blocked in the areas of life that they are blocked in, and I share with them how exactly they can overcome them. And whether or not they want to join my programs or inquire about working with me, it's totally up to them. But this is an opportunity for you to get expert feedback on exactly what the actual blocks are, not the victim-y, oh, it's the economy. Oh, it's my husband. He doesn't show up in the way I want. He's not spiritual enough. He just doesn't touch me the right ways. He doesn't say the right things. All of that BS is keeping you in victimhood. That is not the reason why you're experiencing what you're experiencing. If it comes to your lack of pleasure and desire in the bedroom, and it's not the reason why you aren't experiencing the abundance that you want in your life in terms of blaming stuff on your job, your lack of clients, the economy, whatever. It's super easy for us to blame those things. But at the end of the day, that's never what the block actually is. It all lives in our unconscious mind and in the narratives that we tell ourselves and the identities we create to support those narratives. And that is what I reveal to people in a pleasure assessment call. So if you aren't sure why you're experiencing what you're experiencing, go book the call at the link in the show notes because I'm happy to be a reflection for you in that. This isn't like, let me break you down and tear you apart. No, it's not like that. It's like you have a genuine curiosity of like, what's going on? I'm not quite sure. And I will share with you what I'm seeing after talking with you for 40 minutes. I know, trust me, I've done thousands of these pleasure assessment calls since I started my business in 2017. So I have seen and heard everything. There's nothing I have not heard, I promise you. So how do you identify those narratives and unconscious beliefs? If you aren't already aware, it's going to take someone to reflect it back to you. And that's why I'm just sharing with you about the pleasure assessment call, because if you don't have a good friend who can tell you the honest to God truth about how you're still remaining a victim to the things you want in life, and you probably don't have that friend, that's why we have people like me who hold up the mirror in front of you, sweetheart, so you can get out of that BS, okay? All right, how I use pleasure as a portal to prosperity and why prioritizing pleasure is essential for thriving. Well, pleasure is the path of the feminine. Yes, we need systems and structures in place. My business right now is set to where I hardly work on my business anymore. I mostly just work in it. I spent the greater part of the first 6 years of my business putting systems together, building the website, building a following, all of this stuff. The podcast turns 8 on November 30th of 2024. So I've obviously set a lot of things in motion to create a level of ease now. So yes, in the beginning, when you're building, things are a little more challenging and you do have to put in more time and you do have to put in the systems in place. That's not just going to happen on its own, but how I use pleasure as a portal to more of the service work that I'm here to do in this world is because now that all of those systems are in place, I just get to relax and enjoy my life and share it. And I get to inspire you to take action to do the thing that you need to do to be there as well. And that's what brings me pleasure. I literally get to do the things that bring me pleasure in my business now. And in the beginning, it wasn't like that. We've also had crazy, amazing technological advances since I started my business that when I look back is like, oh my gosh, it could have been so much easier when I started if we had AI. But now that we have AI, things are like infinitely faster and easier in terms of content creation and all of that. Like, I almost wish I would have started my business at this point in time because I would not have spent so many hours and so much time editing and creating podcast episodes and social media posts and email copy and landing page copy and all of that. It is a lot to deal with. And now it's just infinitely faster and easier. So now I get to sit back and play and I get to take all of that work that I did put in and really just focus on what brings me pleasure, what keeps me in a high vibration state to serve you ladies. So without these systems and the structures in place, I would not be able to thrive. And with it in place, I am. And when this comes to your relationship and your sex life, if you're not making your pleasure a priority, then what are you doing? You're being a martyr. You're being a people pleaser. You're staying a victim to younger, outdated versions of yourself who sought love and attention from something external, who needed that attention and love in order to feel safe, to feel like she belonged, and to feel good enough. My love, you can't continue on like that. If you want more pleasure in your sex life and your relationship, you must learn how to self source these experiences and these sensations in the body. And it's all an illusion that we think the things outside of us are the things that make us feel a certain way. When we even look at twin flame relationships, it's the same thing. We will look at those things and say, oh, that's the reason why. That's never the reason why. You self source your somatic experience. You can, but most of us don't have the knowledge or the ability to even tap into the felt sense of what it is we really want in the first place. And that's why somatic coaching is so, so powerful, because it teaches you to do that, to self source what it is that you most want in life. So, with that said, I want to share with you that the Sex Money Honey 6-month mastermind is closing for enrollment on November 29th. So Friday, Black Friday, is the last day to sign up for this founding member rate of the program. If you've listened to earlier episodes of the podcast, just a couple earlier, I was calling it the Sex Goddess Mastermind. It is now being called the Sex Money Honey Mastermind. This is for feminine embodiment for more pleasure and prosperity. If you know that you've got work to do around embodying your inner feminine and working on your capacity to expand for more pleasure and prosperity in your life, this is the program for you. If you've experienced burnout, overwhelm, or you feel really numb and you are a business owner or a career woman or someone who wants to start a business and you know you've got blocks, this is not a business coaching program, but it will set you up for success. So when you do go out there and create your business, you are not doing it from a place of hustle culture and leading to burnout and leading to shutting yourself down, like what happened with me several years ago. I would never want that to happen to you, yet so many entrepreneurs go out there thinking all they need is a strategy, and it's absolute BS. It is absolute BS. What they really need is a nervous system that can support having more before they even go and take the action to do it. And that is what this program will set you up for. So you can apply at the link in the show notes. You'll fill out a short application, book a call. You have to book the call by November 29th to get the founding member rate. The price will be raising $5,000 after this Friday. If you have ever considered working with me, I have a current Magic of the Season promotion going on right now. If you just fill out the application, book the call right now before Friday, and you join my Sex Money Honey program by Friday, you're going to get the $5,000 off the investment. After Friday, it will go up $5,000. You will also get lifetime access to all of my online courses, and that is a total of $1,094. So with the $5K off and the $1,000 of my courses, you're saving about $6,000 just for applying by Friday. If you aren't sure, that's okay. Most people who get on the call aren't sure whether or not this is the right thing for them. I'm not really going to know until you get on the call, because I look at the unique individual. I look at it as a case-by-case basis. I can't tell you because I don't know you. And you can't fill me out until you've actually been on a call with me. So if you have ever thought about applying, or you know that you've wanted to and you've just been waiting for a little nudge from the universe to get on it and do it, I would say now's a good time, sweetheart. All right, love. Head to the link in the show notes, fill out the application, book the call by Friday, and I'll look forward to seeing you there. All right, loves. Take care. Have an amazing Thanksgiving week if you're in the United States. And if not, have an amazing week as well. Bye.